Hello, everyone. My name is Januarianto. I'm from Further Reading in Indonesia, and I'm here with Aditya. Um, I'm a graphic designer, and I've been running Further Reading, which is a publishing platform, since 2017. So I probably one of the speakers that has no background in type design, but rather in publication and graphic design in general. And so that's why I'm here with Aditya, which is a type designer.
Hello, I'm Adit. I'm Adit, and I'm a graphic slash type designer. And yeah, I think we can start.
Adit also start a community and also like a type design learning platform.
Oh yeah, so I kind of teaching in a workshop that I co-create with my partner. It's called Type Club. You, yeah, I can share it after this session if you interested.
So we are actually here because we both recently published a publication, a zine, on type design in Southeast Asia. So we'll go through the publication and also some of the more specifics like the vernacular type design or vernacular identity in Indonesia specifically, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Here's the map of Indonesia. As you can see, it's just a map of that shows the percentage of Indonesian speaker. The lighter the color, the more people that speaks in those areas. So yeah, quite diverse. This is from Translators Without Borders. So in Indonesia itself, we have 800 plus name language that's spoken, and almost 14 million population that cannot speak Indonesia. So it's almost 7% of the total population that cannot speak Indonesia. So that's quite a lot. And the languages in Indonesia is more or less 11% of the world's spoken language. So I think we can safe to say that we are the second largest diverse country in terms of languages. Yeah. This is based on 2010 in the Indonesian population census.
To give you a little context, that in Indonesia, we have local dialects, like the local language, and then Bahasa Indonesia is sort of like the English of our country. So it's the like the united language, some sort of, yeah. So
Yeah.
here, this spread was taken from our third design journal. So this publication also we published back in 2021. So in this spread is a contribution by Aditya Bayu, who is a type designer with background in architecture actually. And in this spread, it showcased the overview of traditional scripts in Indonesia. So at the bottom, there are 4 historical scripts, which later expanded into the seven scripts are sort of the most popular or widely used in local contexts. Next. So within the publication, there are also other contributions by Southeast Asian designers or contributors. The first one, contribution related to typography, language, or writing systems. Yeah, the first one was a contribution by Taiha, if I pronounce it correctly, the name. She's a Vietnamese designer, focusing more on type design. And in her contributions, he details the challenge of digitalization for Vietnamese letters, through personal account of her early interest with letters and how it came to shape her career and future research. And the second one was by Tan Chi Hao, who's also part of Huruf in Malaysia. In his essay, he dissected the complexities and nuances of multilingualism in Malaysia, from the early days to its independence and modern day. And lastly, was a contribution by architect Hamza Al Asadullah. He's Indonesian, where his research was focusing on the informality of culture and how the vernacular type, like the vernacular signage, become inseparable part of our cultural fabric. And starting from that publication, together with Adit, we initiated this zine series, which focusing on the type design in Southeast Asia. Okay. And the zine consisted into several segments, which are short essays, conversations and interviews, visual essays, showcase, and vernacular type archive. And
and here's the contributors of our zine. There are 23 people here that we invited, and yeah.
Maybe not everyone from every Southeast Asian countries are included, because we have sort of challenges and difficulties in collecting all the materials. So we are glad that Sophie Chat is also here from Myanmar. Yeah, Cambodia or Myanmar. Yeah, and also Ben is here, one of the writer for the forward. Yeah, thank you, Ben. And yeah, so we're going to dissect a little bit more. So in Indonesia, there are two big or main script or type design. One is the traditional script, and then the second one is what's very common nowadays is the Latin script.
Yeah, so in Indonesia, we have a lot of scripts because of the languages. So a lot of languages, and few of them have their own writing system. So I think we have a dozen of writing system in Indonesia. But nowadays, we mainly use Latin as our daily script. And we want to talk a little bit about the traditional script, or those 12 scripts. Yeah. So here's a picture of old archive. So the left one is from an old magazine. It's a Japanese magazine back in 19th century. It's called Kejawen. And the right side is an ads for light bulb. And it's both of these are mainly targeted for Japanese in the 19th. And here's the contemporary kind of looks in Indonesia. So I took this picture last year in Bali. So I think the only place that still use this script, this is Balinese script, not Japanese. They are quite similar, but have quite differences. Yeah. So I think there's only a few places in Indonesia that still use the traditional script, and one of them is in Bali. Actually, their government kind of enforce the business to have their signage to include the Balinese script, although it's quite messy sometimes.
Yeah, I think beside Bali, in Yogyakarta, the traditional script is still widely used, or although very locally used, like
Yeah.
only within the city. Because in both area, the cultural values are still very prominent.
Yeah. Okay. We want to show you a few contributors from Indonesia that contribute in our zine. So the first one is Aditya Bayu Perdana. He is a quite prolific type designer. He's mostly focused on traditional Indonesian script. So he doesn't design Latin. He only design Javanese, Balinese, Batak, etc. Yeah. So here's a quiet sample of his work. So in this zine, we asked him to contribute to showcase his recent work, and he sent us this typeface called Boraspati. It's a Batak script typeface, quite
But Batak
rare.
is a region or a province, a state in Sumatra Island.
Yeah. So we we show. Sorry. So we try to showcase the typeface. We have 6 spread. So here you can see 4 pages of out of the 6. So we have this one big spread and 1 page for the info about the typeface, about the designers, and a single page. Actually, the blue one. It's the character set of the typeface. Yeah. Here's the second. This is Arik. Arik Xiaoqi is a type designer from Indonesia. I think if you guys know Lemon Milk, yeah, he's the designer of Lemon Milk. It's quite a popular typeface in Davon. So last year he went to Reading to learn more about Latin and not only Latin, but I think he got a lot of new knowledge for Indonesian traditional script. Yeah. So we also showcase his work. This is his last
Last
uh,
thesis.
this is his master thesis called Kala for Reading. Yeah, it's so he designed a big family. So there is a Latin version and the Arabic version, and the one that we show here is the Balinese one. Yeah. Then I think 2 of those designers from Indo, uh, there are a few individuals that are into Indonesian traditional scripts. Most of the designers in Indonesia, they don't even know that the traditional scripts exist anymore. So yeah, it's quite sad, but yeah, we can.
And then the second part is the Latin script, which is more commonly practiced or used nowadays in the contemporary age. And this is a shop sign. Was taken. The picture was taken in Purwokerto, which is a small town in central Java. So the sign, or like the old signage, I think was believed to be inspired or influenced by the Dutch colonization, because in the city there is one of the oldest bakery shop in Indonesia is from the city. So you can see the character of the script, the lines. Yeah, maybe I did.
Yeah, like we can see, the Latin is have a lot of Art Deco influence. Yeah, um, in the early 90s vibes, and the one thing, the thing that I like from this is the fact that they make the letters embossed. So it's quite interesting if you look it up.
It is a traditional signage, rarely found nowadays. Yeah, it's all substituted with the like digital print, etc. And then from the archive, we also in the studio we also started this like a research initiative called City Scan Map. City Scan Map is more like a on-site research session and workshop that maps the layer of city through graphic design approach. So meaning we usually go to a specific area or district in Jakarta back then, and uses graphic design approach or methodology to sort of observe, and then later we deepen our interest into like a research base. Yeah, in this particular image, it was taken around the Roxy district, which is where our studio was located.
So this is I think what we can
Signage.
from this pic. Um, as you can see, this is in Jakarta. So as you can see, the type itself is are quite narrow. They like to make the letters narrow and make it more angular. I think because it's easier to draw a modular typeface. So and to have enough space to write everything that they want. So yeah.
And this is what the shop sign or the signage looks like compared to the old one. So this is the old one, and then this is what usually commonly found in most cities in Indonesia. So I think it has a lot to do with being pragmatic and also the economical part. Like, yeah, and many of the signs are handmade or like makeshift. So it's really based on one's interest. Like for instance, the one on the right hand side is a petrol sort of station or like petrol stall. So they write it in sort of inspired by black letter, inspired, yeah. And then the one on the left was a food stall, like a noodle shop. Yeah. It was hand painted, right? Yeah. And then this tree is also commonly found in the streets of Jakarta, which is more like a shop number or house number, and then also some sort of announcement, usually made or crafted by the local people who runs a food stall or like business by the roadside, mainly sort of like parking attendants, for instance. And this is also, this is the comparisons of many signages of vernaculars.
We put some photos from contributors. So this is just a
Comparison, overview
of the vernacular in Southeast Asia. Yeah.
You can see a lot of similarities.
Yeah. So yeah. Here's another type foundry. They're quite popular in Indonesia. I think one of the biggest in Indonesia. Yeah. Two of their most recent project is one for Traveloka. It's
like Grab,
yeah,
but for
it's
travels.
kayak Agoda. Yeah, it's
More like Agoda, yes.
yeah, it's kind of like Agoda, and it's quite big in Indonesia. And another one is for type branding for Jakarta. It's quite interesting. We have our first city typeface for branding, but a few months ago, the government, the province government, decided to describe this,
The scrap.
yeah, describe the font and use whatever.
Easier.
Yeah.
And it is also balik, balik. Yeah, this is a contrasting looks for the more modern use of type design in Indonesia is mainly or dominated with Latin, although we have a long history in traditional scripts.
Yeah. So just like before, we showcase their most recent typeface. It's Latin. I think this is a big family. They try to make a one big Latin that sans serif and serif that can be that can be put into a single variable fonts. I think they try to achieve that, and this is the showcase. Also, here's another designer that we included. Um, she's
She's a graphic designer, currently based in Swiss. She was interned in Pentagram, and then having her font will be published by Dynamo, I think.
yeah. So I think the most interesting conversation that we have with her is that she told us that this typeface that we show here will be published by Dynamo next year. If yeah, I think yeah, she's a really passionate designer, and she also went to Ekal in Switzerland to further her studies in back in 2017. Yeah.
And of all the examples, or like overview of vernacular type design, so I think these are the three main common thread or like influence that vernacular type design has to do with the modern context. So one is a sense of belonging. So because vernacular are usually crafted or created by people with no design background. So it's mainly common people who try to sort of express their preferences or like their interests into in this context type. And then second is reinforced cultural pride. The third is to foster a stronger connection. So the first one is the sense of belonging.
Yeah. This is a the picture here is from my hometown. It's a picture of a main building of the old airport. Um, what piques my interest when I took it was the lettering in the building, on top of the building. It's quite interesting with the influence of the early 90s influence and the odd shapes of the N. I think I never saw an N like that. So yeah, yeah.
Yes. So Aditya is from Pontianak, which is the western part of Borneo, Kalimantan. So I think he's also influenced by particularly this type design, and then which also helped him to design the new.
Yeah. So yeah, here's as you can see from the last picture, the influence of the Dutch influence for our current Latin design is quite a lot. Here's another project from Semesta. It's a studio, graphic design studio, that they designed this exhibition. Yeah, they design, and they have this big letter, big black letter that inspired by those lettering, architectural lettering back then.
And then the second one is to reinforce the cultural pride, meaning as a country with a long history and a broad culture, I think it's, and with many of the traditional scripts are being endangered or indigenous currently, the status, because it's not very commonly used in the modern day. Yeah, so here's an example of what Aditya Bayu has done. So Aditya Bayu, with the background in architecture, he specifically has an interest in type design and focusing on the traditional script.
Yeah. So the top two is from his project with Google Fonts. He designed Noto project. So he designed a Noto version of Japanese and few other traditional script. And his interest and his research is really helping us from Indonesia to popularize the traditional script. So the bottom one is from TDC. I screenshot it from their website. So last year he was invited to be one of the jury for the ascenders, I think. So yeah.
And then the last one is to create a stronger connection or local communities. So in this example, maybe Idit can explore. Yeah.
Yeah, so type design in Indonesia is quite new in a way, because before the computerization of or before the internet really popular in Indonesia, we don't really have knowledge or
Access.
yeah, about lettering or type. Yeah, only the sorry, only general graphic design stuff that they teach and they share. So I think the first time type really probe up
Popular.
is in 2010s, when the font really popular. So a lot of independent designer try to make their own font, Latin font. Yeah, so it's steadily
Growing.
growing, but yeah, we don't have any community back then until last year or 2 years ago, after pandemic. So it's quite funny, because after the pandemic, we actually really reach out to each other, and we start using Zoom to make some to share stuff about type, and yeah, and it's unified us, and then we can start making an exhibition. The top right one, that's from 2021 December 2021. It was a
Exhibition.
exhibition for the Indonesian traditional scripts. So yeah, here's another the output of these communities. So we have these few other people that making their own exercise book for designing typeface, and we have this other typography
So
type related stuff.
the result is mainly to sort of popularize the culture of type design. So from publishing like a publication like zine, exercise book, even some sort of like a toy, yeah, and even some wearables like bags or T-shirts. And here's the quick overview of the zine. So inside the zine, we have over 20 contributors from Southeast Asia or beyond, including also several others from European. And yeah, we have also interviews, short essays, visual essays, or more like a vernacular type design archive.
So here's the overview of the showcase part. So we have a double spread and a single spread. So we put a lot of effort to make it as more diverse as we can. So we include some Indonesian scripts and Thai and other Vietnamese, Latin script, and yeah.
So I think in this segment, the showcase segment, we really try to showcase the diversity and complex writing system within the region.
Here's another showcase of the vernaculars, our street photography, street lettering that the contributors sent us. So here's a few of.
Yeah, from here you can see the multilingualism. So for instance, the one in the middle, I think is from Malaysia. So it is written in Latin and also some Chinese characters. Yeah. And then we have some essays. One of the essays or forward by Ben Mitchell actually, whose practice or research has been deeply rooted in Southeast Asia.
And here's another essay. This is from Singapore. It's written by Fable. It's not a typical. It's a different kind of writing because here they try to make it more conversational, and they are talking with that of typography. I think it's an emerging type community in Singapore. So Fable have this senior and student like kind of conversation, yeah. And another one from Thailand, Min by Min Tanti Suana. And we also have interview with Anutin and
On the landscape, the type
Yeah.
design landscape in Thailand.
and the and from Indonesia by Leonardo.
Leonardo is a student in University of Reading. So we try to have a mixture of things like senior, junior, yeah, things like that. So to showcase the diversity or the complexity of the type design landscape.
We also have this essay, visual essay that mostly consists of just illustrations or yeah pictures. We also showcase a typeface that was made from the earlier project, the CT scan map from Roxy. So after we scanning Roxy, we try to make after we research the place, we try to make a typeface from this the project. Yeah. So here's the font, and it's also the one that we use for the header.
And this is the look of the publication. It is recently published, and we have, I think, over 100 pages, 124, and we printed for 500 copies.
We also have the merchandise, the shirts, and we're supported by a few generous people, I think.
Yeah, Typographic, Cadson, Pepperina, and Slanted Magazine. And yeah, I think that's it for us today. Yeah, thank you. And if you have any questions.
Languages in Indonesia, I thought there were more, but not all of them have a writing system, right? They all, not all 850 have a script. The question I have is, how many more scripts, writing systems in Indonesia that has not been encoded in Unicode yet? It has about a dozen odd scripts in there. I've worked with some of them. I'm not sure if there are any more scripts that are not yet encoded. If I can add one more question to, I see a lot of activities around building typefaces for the indigenous scripts. What about usage? Do you see any increase? Are people excited in, say, sending a text message in their own script?
Okay. Thank you for your question. It's quite hard to answer, especially for the first one. Yeah, as far as I know, the most recent scripts that was added into Unicode was the Lampung. So, and I think from what I learned, it's 12 to 16 scripts in Indonesia. So I'm not sure about the scripts that were not that haven't put into Unicode, but I think what I can share with you was the most recent one that was added. Thank you. I think for the second question, my partner here can answer.
For the second question, the usage, although a lot of initiatives are being born with focus on the traditional script, I think the usage are not very much exposed within the mainstream usage, like for instance branding, etc., but rather in the cultural context. So a lot of people, a lot of communities, local communities, are trying to push the usage of the local script into like maybe posters or like the identity of the festival or like the events. Yeah, and then also it is increasing in the publishing sector. So, for instance, there are a few publishing initiatives in Indonesia, mainly locally, that are starting to popularize the usage of local language. So, for instance, there are a few zines or like independent publication in Bandung or in West Java that are using Sundanese language. Although it is still written in Latin, but then the awareness of utilizing the local language are increasing. And then also in the same goes with Bali. They are starting to use Balinese language, although in Latin, but then for several elements they are using the Balinese script. Yeah. So yeah.
Right.
Time
Okay.
is up.
Okay. I think if you have more questions, you can ask the speaker off the stage because we have to take the stage back. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.